All right. Good morning, welcome. We are starting standing today for stability series and still having, even if we're using the chair, having a block at the top of our mat for that squat series. Having everything ready at the top of the mat, blocks or chair, and making our way into mountain pose. And we close our eyes and begin to deepen the breath, thanking ourselves for waking up and showing up, getting out of bed, coming in this morning. Getting a little colder, a little chillier. But we're still going to show up and give ourselves this gift of an hour of movement, strengthening, stretching, and breathing. And still each breath getting a little deeper, each inhale. Maybe taking in the air a little slower, each exhale extending out just a little bit longer. Getting to check in on our bodies this morning, rooting down through the feet, toes, gripping the mat, soft bend in the knees. And pelvis slightly tilted in, spine tall. And shoulders relaxed and down. Taking just a couple more breaths here. Next inhale, biggest one yet, filling belly, ribs, and chest. Big, deep, three-part breath. Exhaling, slowly releasing. Out the nose. And one more big breath in. And out. And next inhale, inhaling both arms up overhead, interlacing fingers, pointers extended. Rooting and sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in, lengthening, stretching. Exhale, small side bend right. Inhaling right back up, tall neutral spine. Exhale, side bend left. Inhaling right back up, tall neutral spine. Exhale, side bend right. This time we're holding the stretch, not the breath. We're going to keep breathing. We can keep biceps squeezing the ears. We can drop that right hand down. Use that support. Press into that hip. Get a little deeper. Reach that left arm over, and then your next inhale, we're coming back to that tall extended mountain pose. Exhale, taking it to the left. Now maybe we're squeezing the ears with the biceps. Maybe we're dropping that left hand down, using that support, reaching that right arm a little further over. Focus on the breath or that right side body rib cage expanding. Next inhale. Both arms coming back up overhead. One long, slow exhale into back bend. And then inhaling right back up, tall neutral spine. Exhaling, flat back squat, bending the knees. Pressing the hips back, getting as long as we can. Fingertips to tailbone, stretching the arms out. Pressing the hips back, the torso can be resting on the thighs. One more big breath in here. And exhaling, forward fold, spilling it forward, letting it go. And first forward fold. We don't have to do anything here. We can rest here right in stillness, give that time under tension on the low back. We can have an option to grab opposite elbows or roll back and forth on the heels and toes. Any intuitive movements. Checking in with your body. What little extra movements, what little extra stretch would feel good for you right now? And then eventually, we're interlacing fingers, pointers extended again. Beginning to bend into the knees, and then on an inhale, we're rising back up to that tall, extended mountain core line, strengthening round to another. Breath in, reach and stretching arms up. Exhale, side bend right. Same options here. Keep biceps squeeze in the ears. Maybe drop that hand down. Use that support. Reach a little further. Get a little deeper. And then your next inhale, that right arm is rising. Exhale, side bend left. Fingers still reaching. We're still stretching. We're trying to generate some heat in the arms. And your next inhale, we're rising back up, tall neutral spine. Exhale, back bend. We're staying here a couple breaths this time. Pressing the hips forward, weight coming into the balls of the feet. This time, maybe tracing our gaze. Tracing those fingers across the ceiling. And then your next inhale, we're rising back up. Tall neutral spine. Exhale, flat back squat, bend the knees. Press the hips back, extend the pinkies, extend the fingers forward. Arms reaching full extension as long as we can get fingers to tailbones. One more breath in. And exhaling into that forward fold. Spill it forward, let it go. Second time in the forward fold, maybe noticing fingers a little lower. Have they already got a little closer to the floor? We're already creating space. Maybe we're wrapping the forearms behind the calf, squeezing elbows together. Taking this last breath or two for any intuitive movements. And then your next inhale, we're finding our downhill skier, elbows just above the knees, palms together, fingers spread wide. We're taking one big breath in here. And then as we exhale, placing our hands, chair, blocks, or mat, right foot takes that step up and back. And now we're adjusting our base. Knee over ankle alignment on that left foot, right foot, we're walking it back. We're finding our edge. How far back can we put that foot? Then we're floating the fingers with the core engaged. On an inhale, we're rising up. Exhale, sinking into that high lunge. Inhale, lengthen, reaching, stretching arms. Pinky fingers spinning in, arms are reaching for the ceiling. And now we're choosing our intensity. How active are those arms? And then what about the legs? We have that knee over ankle on that front foot. And we can press into the mat. We can pull the mat apart with our feet, that right leg. We're high up on the toe pad. We're pressing into that foot too. We're engaging that back calf. One more breath in here, maybe finding slight back bend. And then as we exhale, slowly lowering with control. Framing the front foot, looking forward on an inhale. Exhaling. Right foot steps up to meet the left. And downhill skier, elbows just above knees. One big breath in. Exhale, placing hands. Left foot takes that step up and back. Now centering ourselves, getting secure in our foundation. Where does that left foot want to go? Do we have knee over ankle on that right foot, floating the hand? And then we're rising on an inhale. Sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in, lengthening, reaching, and then same options here. Choosing our intensity, always saying, we want to stay within our balance of ease and effort, but we want to know where, at least having that awareness of where we can push ourselves, where can we add to it. It's in the legs when we're holding these standing poses. How much engagement are we looking for here? Next inhale, maybe finding slight back bend. And exhale, slowly lower. Framing the front foot, we're looking forward on an inhale, exhale. Left foot steps up to meet the right and fold, this time in the forward fold, grabbing our block. Bringing that in between the calves and giving that a nice tight squeeze. Once we have that block ready, one more big breath in. And then exhale, chair pose. We're dropping the hips. Putting the weight in the heels, giving the toes a little wiggle. And then choosing our adventure with our hands. We have hands at heart center. We can go shoulder height, shoulder width. We can raise them up a little higher. Adding a little more shoulder intensity. Where do we need to be today? What are we working on? Pelvis is in that anterior tilt, protecting that low back. Can we drop the hips a little more? Can we fire up the legs? I know we can do hard things with that block squeeze together on our next inhale. We're coming to tiptoe pose. Arms staying shoulder height, shoulder width. We're raising the heels off of the mat. Locking that gaze. Tongue to the roof of the mouth can be helpful. Picking a spot out on the floor, 6 to 8 feet in front of you. Steady gaze, steady breath, steady body. Wonderful, wonderful. Awesome. Focus next. Exhale slowly, lowering with control. Removing the block. Settling briefly back into that mountain pose. Finding that stillness. Soft bend in the knees. Pelvis tilted in, rolling out the shoulders. Getting all the wiggles out. Spine is tall. Chin parallel. And your next inhale, we're inhaling both arms up overhead. Exhaling, we're lowering down, standing heroes, arms coming down, shoulder height, shoulder width as we bend into the knees. And here, attempting to keep shoulders directly above the hips. We're coming right into it, finding that shaky place very quickly. Weight can come into the toes here. If the heels want to raise, and yeah, embracing the shake. Wonderful, wonderful job. Next exhale, we're sinking down just a little bit lower. And then inhale, rising up, tiptoe pose one more time, all the way up. And exhaling, sinking heels down. Returning to that mountain pose, balancing series. Next option to bring chair to the right side of the mat with the back facing us. And we're going to start off with single head to knee, grinding down into that right foot and raising left leg up towards 90. Picking out our spot on the floor, anything not moving. And just allowing the ankle, the leg to do the work. Awesome, awesome. Next exhale, slowly lower with control. Grinding down into the left foot. Switch inside. Next inhale. Right leg rises. Up towards 90. As long as we have that slight bend in the standing leg. We are right where we're supposed to be. Awesome, awesome job, everyone. And next exhale, slowly lower. Pedal out the feet. Tree pose, maybe switching chair back on the right side, depending on where your knee is going to land. Weight into the right foot, and then we're kickstanding the left. And we can stay right here in the kickstand. We can raise the sole of the foot up. We can do whatever we wish with our hands. We can growing our own trees. There is no wrong way to grow your tree. Wonderful, wonderful. Next exhale, slowly lower with control. Maybe switching props if we're finding comfort with those. Weight into the left foot and beginning to find the tree on our right side. Maybe we find that kickstand. Maybe we raise the foot up to the calf, the knee, the thigh. And exhale, slowly lower. Pedaling the feet out, maybe adjusting. Chairs, we're doing a eagle pose next. We're starting out, we're coming still onto the right foot. Starting out, arms out of T. We're going to cross the left leg over, and we're going to cross the left arm onto the right, and then bring the back of the hands or maybe the palms together. And now we have this kickstand here. We can begin just lightening the load, tapping those left toes up and down. We can find our shoulder stretch here, raising our elbows up. We can cross that left leg a little higher. And then like that standing heroes, as we begin to lower down, attempting to keep shoulders directly above hips. And we can choose any combination of these. You know, with the kickstand, we're working the standing leg. If we're tapping that left foot up and down, we got this shoulder stretch, raising the elbows up. I'm loving all the different options this morning. And next exhale, we're springing out. Pedaling out the feet. And then switching sides, the arms back out to a T. Right leg crosses over. Right arm crosses under. Back of the hands, maybe palms meet. Find your shoulder stretch, raise the elbows up, and then where are we crossing that right leg at? Kick standing down at the bottom, maybe up towards the knee. Out. Are we growing our eagles today? Wonderful, wonderful. And next exhale, springing out. Pedaling out the feet, moving our props to the front of the mat, either chair with the seat facing us or blocks on their highest setting. For our warrior threes, we're going to find our mountain pose. And then just for fun, we can start these from half lifts. We can start them from mountain pose. So backing up a little bit, we're going to end up with our hands maybe coming down onto the props. So we're going to start our right foot first. Now on our exhale, as we lower, we're attempting to keep our left leg in line with our spine. So one more breath in to prepare. Exhaling down into slowly with control, finding the warrior three. Keeping that slight bend in the right leg. And then with that left, pinky toe spinning down. The foot is flexed, gaze is down, neck in line with the spine. We want to find that length. Stretch that left leg out, flex that foot, press into imaginary wall, and then maybe raise it up. And then what are we doing with our hands? We have the chair or blocks. We can do heart center, airplane, out in front in the streamline. Wherever we're at, we're coming out slowly with control. Next exhale, or next inhale rather, beginning to lower that left leg. Wonderful, wonderful. Pedaling the feet out. Returning to mountain pose. Trying that out. Other side, grinding down into the left foot from mountain pose. Big breath in. Exhale, slowly hinge, raising the right leg up. As our torso lowers and we find our warrior threes, wonderful. Lowers testing with the hands, holding on loosely. Both legs very active. And then your next inhale, we're beginning to slowly rise back up. Pedaling out the feet, returning to that mountain pose. Wiggling out the feet, arms out by our side. Wonderful, wonderful. From that mountain pose, next inhale, we're inhaling both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, right foot steps back, fall by the left foot, pressing hips up and back. Downward dog, holding here, pedaling the feet out. Bending one knee, dropping the opposite heel. Maybe we're pressing away through the palms. Raising the hips up towards the ceiling. And then your next inhale, right leg rises. Exhaling, knees to nose. Stepping that through. Dropping that left heel down. Toes pointed towards the meal on an inhale. Left arm, cartwheels up and over. Right arm follows. We gaze over right middle finger. Finding our warrior two and then adjusting our edge. We walk that back foot back in. Excellent, excellent. Coming back to the breath. Slowing things down. Just gazing over the right middle finger. Fingers are stretched out. Legs aren't moving here. And next inhale, flipping the front palm and leaning forward. Exhale. Reversing the warrior, choosing the gaze, adding that neck stretch, maybe down at the back left hand. Up at that right arm as it reaches back, generating that side bend. One more breath in here. And then exhale, cartwheeling over, extended side angle. Right forearm finds the right thigh, left arm bicep to ear, reach and stretch. Maybe if we want to add a twist, dropping that right arm down, pressing into the inside of that leg, stacking shoulders. Looking really good. I'm seeing some nice long lines, fingers to toes. Stretch it out. And then next inhale, we're rising back up to that warrior two. Settling in as we exhale. Another breath in, lengthening, reaching, stretching. Exhaling, cartwheeling hands down. Pivoting left foot forward. When our hands arrive, right foot steps back to meet the left, pressing hips up and back. Downward dog, big breath in. Exhaling, let it go. And then option to flow. Inhale, out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, drop the hips. Raise the gaze. Exhale. Down dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, knee to the nose. Stepping that through. Dropping that right foot. Toes angling out to the right side of the mat. And then next inhale, right arm cartwheels up and over. Left arm follows. And then we land in our warrior two. Adjusting that right foot, finding our edge. Keeping that knee over ankle on that front foot, back foot entirely up to us, fingers reaching. Fingertip to fingertip, finding that length as long as we can get, shoulders relaxed. face relax. And next inhale, flip the front palm, lean forward. Exhale, peaceful warrior, adding that neck stretch, choosing your gaze. Focus always, breath. Maybe that side bend. Maybe that left side body, that rib cage expanding, that shoulder stretching. One more big breath in. And exhaling, extended side angle. Left forearm, left thigh, right arm, bicep to ear, reach, stretch it out, armpit, palm spinning down. Maybe we want to add a twist. Maybe we're dropping that left arm down. Pressing into the inside of that leg. That is going to stack shoulders, but we're still reaching. Reaching that right arm up, getting as long as we can. And then next inhale, we're rising back up to that warrior two, settling in as we exhale. Another breath in, stretching, reaching, and then exhale, cartwheeling, hands down, pivoting right foot forward where our hands arrive, left foot steps back to meet the right. Finding that downward dog, big breath in and out. And then option to flow, inhaling out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Another breath in and out. And next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, slowly walking feet up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising. All the way up, baby. Arms going out and up. Always that option to add that side back bend. And exhaling, hands to heart center. One breath in. And return to mountain. Pedaling the feet out. All right, we're almost at halftime break. One more stretch. Hands on the hips. We're sliding right foot back. We're bringing both hands up overhead. And then on our exhale, we're just rolling over. Finding pyramid pose. And we're here for that left hamstring. And we can, adjust where that right foot needs to be. I just had to walk mine back a little, couple inches more. But playing into bending and straightening that left knee. Hip position, pressing left hip back, right hip forward. And no stress, no strain, no pulling or tugging here. We're just letting the weight of the torso do the work. And just making those tiny little adjustments. To see what sensations, if any, we can find this morning. From here, we're interlacing fingers. Pointers extended, and on your next inhale, we're slowly rising for a count of 5. Inhaling for 5, 4, slowly uncurl it. 3, 2, arms coming all the way up overhead. 2, and 1, stepping right foot back. Stepping opposite foot back. And then as we exhale, slowly lower, pyramid pose. Other side, arms dangling. And we can rest hands on the chair, forearms on the chair. Hands can dangle down by the ankles too, wherever we're feeling comfortable. And then playing into bending and straightening that right knee. Slight adjustments with the hip as well. And then just letting gravity do the rest. From here, we're interlacing fingers, pointers extended, and giving ourselves that full 5 seconds. Inhaling here, rising up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stepping left foot forward and exhaling, hands coming down through heart center and return to mountain. Pedaling down, we're making our way down onto our bums, and we're gonna come down through squat. Always just throw another pose in there instead of just coming down. Heels in, toes out. We're gonna bring both hands up overhead, and then exhaling. Beginning to lower down, and then choosing our options here. We can play into pulsing up and down, resting in stillness, wiggling hips side to side, taking a breath or two. Any intuitive movements. And then eventually making our way down onto our bum. And having at least one block nearby. At least one. And then we can take it. It's a stability series day. We're kind of working. We can take that slow boat down. And we will get a little halftime break in today. Arms out to the side. Rest the head down and give ourselves a good 30, 45 seconds here. Doing absolutely nothing. From here, pulling the right knee into the chest, giving that a nice tight squeeze. We can bring that knee right into the middle. We can take it out to the side. We can do some small hip circles. We're just looking for any tension we find in our bodies. And if we find some, leaning into the discomfort, giving some attention to that tension, sending it on its way. One more nice tight squeeze here, and then we're bending the knee on the left foot. The sole, the left foot finds the mat, extending the right leg up. Right ankle crosses just above the left knee, and we're finding our reclined pigeon. We can stay right here. Apply gentle pressure on that right knee. We can curl the left knee into the chest, interlace fingers behind the thigh, and pull it in. Just different options to find that little extra hip stretch. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. And then next exhale, slowly lower. One vertebra at a time, reconnecting with the mat, extending right leg up and slowly lowering that leg all the way down to the mat, pulling the left knee into the chest, giving that a nice tight squeeze, pull it into the middle, out to the side, maybe little hip circles. Find that tension, find that spot where you can feel it. One more nice tight squeeze here, and then we're bending the right leg, sole of the foot to the mat, extending. Left leg up towards the ceiling, left ankle crosses just above the right knee, and then we're pulling the right leg into the chest. We're finding our version of our reclined pigeon. We can stay with the gentle pressure. We do have that option to pull that knee into the chest and use that left elbow to press away on the left knee. One more tight squeeze here, and then as we exhale, slowly lower. Arms back out to the T, extending. The left leg up, slowly lowering it down. And then extending the right leg out to meet it as well. Arms out by our sides. Palms are down, scooting the shoulder blades in a little bit. And then starting a little bit of core. We're going to go for 9 this time. 9 double leg lifts. On our inhale, both legs rising. Exhale, slowly lower. Chin and shoulders can lift a little too as we raise up for 2. And lower. And 3. And lower. And 4, maybe heels stay hovering for this. And up for 5. And 6. And 7. 8. One more. 9. And slowly lower, bend the knees. Double knee hug. Maybe a happy baby. Maybe a windshield wiper. Any intuitive movements. Anything that might feel good for you. Eventually, lowering the soles of the feet back down to the mat, scooting our bums to the right side of our mat, and then rolling onto our left side. Bringing elbow under shoulder, right hand finding the hip. Our knees are stacked, hips are stacked. And then we're going to get for our obliques some little hip raises here. We're going to put weight into the knees, into the lower legs, raising the hips up here, and then maybe extending the right arm as well. And then 12 little hip kisses, lowering the hips down to the mat, raising them up for 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Hold in this last one. Keep those hips raised, maybe extending that right leg out. Can we do 3 little leg lifts up for 1, 2, and 3, and slowly lower, switching sides, roll it over, other side. Elbow under shoulder on the right side, palm is down, fingers spread wide. Left hand find the hip, hips, knees, ankles stacked. And then starting out, raising the hips off of the mat. Maybe we extend the left arm up and then 12 little hip kisses going down, tapping the mat, raising up for 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Holding this last one, holding for 12. Options for 3 little leg lifts, extending that leg, raising up for 1 and 2 and 3. Beautiful. Lower down onto backs. Take a little break. Intuitive movements, double knee hug, happy baby, windshield wipers. What do you need? Take it now. Like a second little A halftime break after our halftime break. Let's go from here, finding stillness, finding one of our blocks, extending the legs long. And we can add then in the knee here if we want. Arms are up overhead. We're going full body stretch. But then we're also gonna attempt to roll up, use this block like a pendulum. Just sitting up one time, one big breath in. And then exhale, swing that block towards the feet, rise up. Wonderful, wonderful. Swinging the legs around back onto our tummies for some back bend, stretch out the core. This is always one of the best times of class because you just did the core. So you're all like, oh my goodness, we're almost done, aren't we? And we are. We're on the back bend. It's time to stretch it out. Palms, mid chest, elbows tucked in. Extending the legs long, then on inhale, press down on the tops of the feet, elbows squeezing the rib cage, and we're peeling a couple ribs off of the mat. Gaze is down, neck in line with the spine. Floating the hands a little bit, relaxing the face, adding that smile. You know, letting the tension go from the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw. One more breath in. And exhale, slowly lowering with control, taking a cheek, getting a little neck stretch in, ankles falling to the side. Returning chin to the mat. Making sure palms are mid-chest, elbows squeezing in, walking the legs long. Inhale, press down on tops of the feet, hover the kneecaps, peel a couple ribs off the mat. Gaze is still down, neck in line with the spine. We're kind of just staring at the floor or eyes are closed. Face relaxed, breath is slow and steady. Back is strong. Next inhale, raising up just a little bit higher. Then exhale, slowly lower with control. Ankles falling to the side while we're here, arms out by our side. And then palms down if that's accessible, palms up as well. We're scooting our hands underneath our thighs, returning our chin to the mat, half locust. Walking the legs long, finding as much length, stretching out the toes. And then on an inhale, we're floating the feet. And we're still peeling a couple ribs off the mat. Gaze is still down, neck is in line with the spine, resisting that urge to look around. And then with those legs pointing, reaching, finding that length, finding that stretch, finding that distance, and adding a little more height. Raise the feet up just a little bit higher. And then as we exhale slowly, lower with control, taking opposite cheek. Ankles falling to the side. And half locust, round two, chin to the mat. Stretch the legs out, walk them long. Inhale, feet hover. Feel a couple ribs off the mat. Attention back on the legs. Stretch them, point them, reach them, create that length. Then add that height. Raise up a little higher. Peel one more rib off of the mat. And then exhaling, slowly lowering. Taking opposite cheek, ankles falling out to the sides. We wiggle our hands out, bringing palms down. Returning chin to the mat, 2 rounds, full locust. Walk the legs long, create that length. Inhale. Everything floats up. Feet are floating, arms are floating. Peel a couple ribs off the mat, add the smile. Unclench the teeth, relax the face, relax the jaw, the eyes. That tension does not serve us. Let it go. One more breath in, raising up. And then exhale, slowly lower with control, taking a cheek, ankles falling to the side. Now, last back bend. If you would like to take a bow pose, you're more than welcome to take a bow pose here. If you'd like to join us for second full locust, we're bringing our chin to the mat, walking the legs long, and on an inhale, we're rising up. And if we're taking that bow option, we're using that leg strength. Kick the feet into the hands. Create that back bend with the leg strength. If we're in our full locust, we're just stretching it out. Pointing the toes, raising the arms up, squeeze those shoulder blades together, highest point yet, all together, and then exhale, slowly lower. Taking opposite cheek. Ankles falling to the side. And then from here, we're rolling on to our favorite side. Resting our cheek on our bicep, and then we're here just to press ourselves up to seated. Swinging our legs back around front and preparing for some forward folds. And we can prop the hips up on a blanket or a bolster and exaggerating the natural low curve in the back, just letting the hips fall off the very edge of that. And then for starters, we're going to come right down the middle. So options for blocks under the knees depend on how the hamstrings are feeling. Feet are a comfortable distance apart. We're bringing both hands up overhead. And then as we exhale, we're doing our back flat as far as we can, hinging, reaching, stretching it out. And when we can't go anymore, dropping the hands, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. And that first 30, 40 seconds here, no stress, no strain, no effort. You're already doing everything you need to be doing. The chin is tucked and we're breathing. That is it. And that is a lot. When we get into slowing things down, attempting to regulate the nervous system, slowing the breath, sending the signals to the brain to relax the body, to soften in. Next inhale here, we can take big, deep, 3-part breath. And as we exhale, creeping the hands forward, lowering the chin down a little bit. Have we created any space? Can we soften in? We can use each exhale as an opportunity to soften. We have a good grip on our feet, our ankles, shins. We can use each inhale to pull the torso away from the hands and feet, and each exhale to sink forward a little bit more. When we're given the time under tension, just listening to your body. There's something I'm not saying, an option I'm not giving. It might feel good for you. Do that. Absolutely. Using these next couple breaths to creep it forward, stretch it out, getting a little deeper, seeing what space has been created, and then your next inhale, we're beginning to slowly uncurl, rising back up to that tall, neutral spine, removing any props we may have been using, and then one last time, making our way down onto our backs. Maybe taking that slow boat down. Maybe we're coming right down onto our elbows. And when we arrive, bending the knees, soles of the feet on the mat. And we're floating both the legs. And then as we exhale, we're twisting right, gazing left. And we want those right legs resting comfortably. That can be on the floor. That can be on a blanket or a block or bolster. And next inhale, we begin slowly bringing the knees back up over the hips. Rolling out that lumbar, wiggling things out. And then when we are ready, on an exhale, we're twisting left, gazing right, and making sure that left leg is resting comfortably. Floor, blanket, block, bolster. Checking the body for tension. Our final pose, final side before Shavasana. Notice if any tension crept back into the face, eyes, the temples, cheeks, jaw. And next inhale. And then bring the knees back up over the hips as we lower the feet down, bringing the pinky toes out to the edge of the mats. Maybe countering here with some windshield wipers, knees falling left, falling right. And at this time, taking any additional movements when you're ready for Shavasana, making your way into Shavasana. If you want to spend a couple minutes in an inversion or anything else, using this time, however, it's going to benefit you the most. Blanket for a neck roll, bolster under the knees. Excellent, excellent options. Supported legs up the wall, supported bridge. Excellent, excellent options. Beginning to deepen the breath. Maybe take a deep 3-part breath here, filling belly, ribs, and chest. And in that exhale out to the fingers and toes. We have the option to slowly bring movement back to the body. Taking any final stretches that might feel good. Full body stretch, double knee hug, anything at all. Getting that last little bit of movement out. And eventually, when we're ready, making our way back to our version of a comfortable seated position. And even here, take an opportunity for one final hip exercise, recrossing the legs, wiggling out those sitting bones. And I don't know if we remember to do this every day, but maybe it's getting a little more comfortable, a little more familiar. We're closing with one final inhale, inhaling both arms up overhead, gather new energy for the day, exhaling hands to heart center, sailing that in, carrying that with us. And I thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to speak to me after class. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.